Who has truly benefited from feminism? Women, of course, right? Well, not really. Let's talk research and statistics. Assalamu alaikum, what's going on, everybody? Let's talk feminism, studies, and women's happiness. We constantly see studies like this on mainstream media outlets. Things like, women are happier without children or a spouse, says so-called happiness expert. Yet, they rarely mention the shocking limitations of these surveys or studies. Mainly the fact that many of these women are surveyed at one point in their lives, at one point in time, in their prime, living their best lives, but never followed up with over a period of time. So let's talk about an actual study, whereby it was a long-term study on feminism and women's happiness. The study named Well-Being Over Time in Britain and the USA by David Blanchflower and Andrew Oswald. This study was performed from the 1970s to the 1990s on 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. Over 2 decades of research. They wanted to know the overall life satisfaction and well-being in society for men and women. What they found was truly horrific. Women had a decline in happiness despite all the women's rights and feminist policies over the decades. So much so, it was referred to as paradoxical. One of their conclusions pertaining to women and feminism was, it has not been successful in creating a rising well-being for women. This study has shown that the well-being of women has deteriorated over the decades. Feminist policies and women prioritizing their careers and forgoing marriages and family and neglecting their femininity and trying to be men. This has had a negative impact on women. Who would have guessed? Who would have thunk it? There are other studies that also show similar catastrophic results. Let's take a look at the UK's Belfast Telegraph. According to this article, a survey by health magazine Top Santee shows that of the women who have a young child, of these women who are surveyed and they have a young child, only 4% wanted to continue working full-time. In other words, 96% of women surveyed prefer to work part-time or not work at all after they have children, once they have a family. They want to prioritize their children. And as a matter of fact, let the man work and let him provide for us. Other findings have shown that nearly 1/3, over 30% of full-time working women would prefer to work part-time. They don't want to work full-time. Over 20% prefer to work from home. Hey, I get it. Hey, preach. And a shocking 43%, pretty close to half, would prefer to be full-time, not employees, but full-time stay-at-home wives and mothers. Half of them wanted to be stay-at-home mothers and focus on their families and their children. Women have been complaining about anxiety, nervous breakdowns, uncontrollable stress, the mental, physical, emotional toll that full-time employment has taken on them, especially if they want to have a family. And finally, 78% of women said they would quit their jobs tomorrow, given the chance. Betty Friedan, one of the mothers of second-wave feminism, she said, infamously, that the home is a comfortable concentration camp. But the reality women have started to realize is that work and no family is in fact the actual, inescapable prison. So I ask you this, putting all our biases aside, based solely on the data, has feminism truly given women greater happiness? Or has it forced them into a cage guarded by modern societal expectations, and they are simply unable to escape?